The cardinal rule of marriage? Never betray the trust of the person you vow to cherish. A simple boundary. Now, let's talk about the unspoken, nuclear-level boundaries. Cheating with your spouse's sibling is a catastrophe. But trying to seduce their parent right after? That's not a mistake. It's an act of deliberate, calculated malice. I must ask for your tolerance if the tone of this account is not one of gentle understanding. If you had walked a single mile in the wreckage of my life, you would share this absolute, stone-cold unforgiveness. I, Alistair Vance, a 35-year-old architect, was married to Serafina for 7 years. Serafina, or Sarah as I called her, was not just a wife. She was the axis on which my world turned. My brother, Rhys, a 30-year-old software engineer, lived across the country in the bustling tech hub of Atherton City. Sarah and I met through mutual professional contacts in Harborview Heights, our quiet, affluent coastal town. We decided early on not to have children, a choice I now view as an incredible blessing, a silver lining in this acid rain. The first tremor of disaster hit when Rhys came to stay with us for a week. It was a joyous reunion initially. Rhys knew Sarah well from previous visits. There was no awkward introduction to blame. But on the eve of his departure, a shift occurred. He became excessively verbose, his eyes darting, a nervous energy radiating from him that was completely foreign to his usual laid-back demeanor. I pressed him. "Rhys, what's going on? You're acting like you just robbed a bank." He insisted he was fine, a flimsy lie didn't buy. It wasn't until I saw Sarah that same evening, her movements stiff, her gaze avoiding mine with a studied intensity, that a horrific, inescapable suspicion clicked into place. They were both off, synchronously and dramatically. The worst-case scenario, an intimate betrayal, was the only explanation that fit. I wrestled with it, trying to conjure any other shared secret that could bind them in such awkward silence. A surprise party? A financial crisis? Nothing held up. Driven by a desperate need for the truth, I cornered Rhys later that night. "Sarah is acting weird, just like you." I spoke to her. "Now, be a man and tell me your side." I feigned an informed anger, trying to project a certainty I didn't possess. Rhys looked like he was about to break, but then Sarah appeared at the top of the stairs, and he clamped down, reiterating his denial. After he left, I interrogated Sarah, avoiding any direct accusation. She stonewalled me, growing irritable at my persistence. I checked her phone, but any messages with Rhys had been meticulously scrubbed. The evidence was absent, leaving me with only a sickening gut feeling. My rational mind wouldn't let me accuse two people of such a heinous crime without a shred of proof based solely on their suspicious behavior. I backed off, letting the suspicion fester like a slow poison. The confirmation and the escalation arrived 6 months later at a cousin's wedding in the city of Crestwood Bluffs. My father, Marcus Vance, a distinguished 65-year-old retired judge who raised us after my mother passed, was also in attendance. Marcus is a sharp, handsome man who takes excellent care of himself, an older, distinguished version of me. We were all staying at the Crestwood Grand Hotel. Sarah, feigning exhaustion, went back to the room early. I stayed, dancing and socializing. When I returned, she was asleep. The whole Rhys incident felt distant, almost resolved. The following morning, I was grabbing breakfast when Dad approached me, his face grave. "We need to talk, Alistair. It's important." My heart sank. Marcus Vance doesn't use the word important lightly. We took a walk on the hotel grounds. He told me, without preamble, that Sarah had come to his room late the previous night. He let her in, as they had a friendly relationship. The conversation quickly turned dark. "She started getting flirty, Alistair. Very touchy," he said, his voice low and strained. Assuming she was drunk, he gently rebuffed her advances. Then, the true horror. She went straight in for a kiss and tried to grope me. I had to push her off. He recounted her pathetic retort. "Do you think I'm drunk? Is that why you don't want me? I'm not. I know exactly what I'm doing." She then stood, deliberately dropping the straps of her dress to expose herself. Dad, disgusted and protective, shoved her out of the room. "I want you to know, son, that nothing happened. But she tried to seduce me. That is just as bad." The ground tilted beneath me. The person I suspected of cheating with my brother had just tried to cheat with my father. The sheer toxicity, the audacity, the utter lack of moral fiber was staggering. In the midst of the shock, I knew I needed absolute certainty about Rhys. I needed the proof. I confided in Dad about my earlier suspicions regarding Reese. His shock was profound, and he instantly agreed to help me get the evidence. She'd have deleted messages on her phone. But Reese? His guard will be down, I said. He won't delete them. Dad, a man of quiet resourcefulness, executed the mission flawlessly. He borrowed Reese's phone, claiming his own was dead, accessed the chats with Sarah, screenshotted the incriminating conversation, and then deleted the screenshots from both the gallery and the chat log before handing the phone back. The messages were a gut-punch confirmation. Reese had indeed slept with her in my house. He regretted it. He aggressively confronted her for initiating it, but the act was done. They had been left with guilt.
But Sarah?
For her to move from my brother to my father proved her guilt was paper-thin. I found Reese in his hotel room, packing. My vision tunneled. I didn't say a word. I just walked up and delivered a hard, clean sucker punch that sent him sprawling to the floor. I crouched over him, my fist clenched, adrenaline roaring in my ears. His lip was split, his eyes wide with shocked realization. I grabbed his collar. "You are dead to me," I hissed, my voice thick with hatred. I let him go and walked out, leaving his muffled apology unanswered. I drove Sarah back to Harborview Heights. She was uneasy, sensing the change. I imagined Reese had texted her, and she was now living in the anxiety of the unknown. She asked if I was okay. I just smiled, looked her dead in the eyes, and said, "Perfectly fine. Why wouldn't I be?" I let the silence, the suspicion, and the guilt torture her for a week. I wanted her to deal with the sickening thought. Does he know? If he knows, is he going to kill me or just divorce me? She deserved that mental stress. I used that time to prepare the divorce papers. The confrontation arrived on a Saturday. A knock came at the door of our custom-built house overlooking the Pacific. I told Sarah to get it. When she opened the door, it was the process server. He handed her the papers. The moment she walked back into the living room, the mask dropped. "I want a divorce. I want you out of my life," I said, my voice dangerously calm. She had the gall to ask, "Why?" "You're a despicable, two-bit traitor for asking that," I spat, my voice rising. I told her she knew exactly why, and that I hated my brother, but I hated her more. As the tears started, I laughed. "Where were these crocodile tears when you were in my brother's bed?" I shouted. She tried to interrupt. "Shut up," I roared. "There is nothing you can say to fix this." Then I delivered the second blow, the one she didn't see coming. "And don't think I don't know you tried to sleep with my father, too." Her face went blank, the shock absolute. I called her every vile name I could think of. I wasn't gentle. I wasn't understanding. I was a husband whose life had been turned into a trash fire. I screamed at her, repeatedly asking, "Why? Why did you do it?" She just stood there, full-on weeping, unable or unwilling to offer an explanation. "You have 20 minutes to pack what you can and get out of this house," I instructed. When she hesitated, I started throwing random items into a suitcase, an act of pure, contained fury that broke her paralysis. She scrambled, packing in a panic. She was gone before the 20 minutes were up, banished from my life. The divorce was boring, a quick settlement. I kept the house, the assets, and I agreed to a modest alimony payment. That was the legal system, and I accepted it. The interesting part, the satisfying part, was what came next. We lived in a town where gossip travels faster than light. I had the receipts, the screenshots Dad had captured. I logged onto the local Harborview Heights community page on social media and posted a detailed account of the twin betrayals, including the image proof of the chat logs. Then I went old school. I printed out the post and the screenshots. I put up flyers on every single community bulletin board in town. The grocery store, the laundromat, the town hall, and yes, the one at the main church. The community reaction was immediate. People reached out, some with pity, others demanding details for their gossip mails. I gave them everything.
Sarah, prédictably, contacted-me, furieuse.
She demanded I take down the posts. She tore down what she could, but she couldn't outrun the visibility. She threatened legal action. I laughed. My claims are backed up by screenshots and a respected former judge, my father. Try me. When she said I was ruining her life, I replied, "I'm glad to hear it. You deserve worse." I made a point of visiting the high-end boutique where she worked. I spoke to her boss, not to demand she be fired, but to inquire about the character of the person I entrusted my heart to. I made sure the other customers heard every damning word. The scandal became the primary source of entertainment for the town, a daily drama fueled by my consistent reposting of flyers and updates. Finally, she broke. She came to the house a month later, haggard and defeated. "I'm leaving town," she stated, her voice trembling. "I can't live here anymore. You've ruined my life. I'm depressed and anxious." She claimed she didn't deserve this public shaming for her mistakes. "You deserve worse," I reiterated flatly. She realized I would never be civil. As I laughed, a cold, genuine sound of triumph, tears welled in her eyes. She turned and fled, unable to bear the sight of me enjoying her destruction. I looked back on that moment with satisfaction. I may not be a good person anymore, but I was good to her, and it counted for nothing. For now, I'm content to be alone. I am done with women. The wounds are too deep. Maybe one day I'll change, but that day is a long, long way off.